Are you somebody who's trying to sell something, be it a product or a service, and you continuously struggle to do so? Then you have landed on the right video, because I'm going to show you the top 5 sales enhancers that you can instantly add into your business, or if you're a freelancer, or if you are somebody out there just breaking free from the 9 to 5, these work every single time. But before we begin, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alexander. I work one-on-one with business owners to help them earn more. I have a combined portfolio of partners right now who have earned an additional $5+ million in this year alone in additional revenue. So let's go ahead and begin today, where I will break down the whole process of these 5 instant sales enhancers so that sales not only become easier, but you can actually earn more by peppering these in. So the first thing that you're going to want to focus on is what is called the breakdown. And this one is probably one of the easiest things that you can implement into any business strategy, any freelance pitch, any pitch deck, but I want to know what it looks like working with you. Because even if you're a low ticket item, even if you're a high ticket item, what you need to do is to break down all the steps from start to finish. And ideally, you want to do it in an odd number of milestones, either 3 steps, 5 steps, or realistically, if they can just do it in 1 step and get the outcome that they're looking for, that's even better. But more often than not, there's probably some progress involved. And this applies to not just services, but products as well. So the breakdown, your first thing you're going to want to do is work with me. The first step should involve some form of working with you, the provider, the service, the product, something that you're trying to sell to them should ideally begin with that. Well, what we're going to do is get started on the program, and then this is what the next step looks like, where you're going to want to start to break down the hurdle or the issues that you solve. In the second step, you kind of want to break down what the overarching story looks like. So when I buy your thing, there's going to be a ton of different problems. If it is a service, then likely that I am trying to solve something. I'm trying to lose weight. I want a faster computer. I want to get more leads. Then I need to understand in here, number 2, what specifically that looks like. You solving the hurdle, you getting me over that hump, what the whole meat of that actual process looks like. If it's a product, for instance, then you're going to want to definitely emphasize what maintenance or what details or what care or what things might go into that. If I get a car, for instance, the first step might be going to the dealership, securing financing, picking out the colors and the tires. But then beyond that, I'm going to want to know things like, what gas do I get? What insurance do I get? If I buy an electric vehicle, step 2 might be something like getting a charging station. And then the last step that you want to break down is the outcome. So between connecting these dots, you want to get them to the last step, because once you break this down, it seems not only more achievable, but it seems like they are on a journey from point A to point B. So once they understand what the likelihood of them getting to that last step, or really the outcome that they want is, and how these are intertwined, they will see it as more achievable in their mind. If you start to spiderweb these, for instance, you want to think about these as not just working with you, but the first win as well, the first hurdle, and the final win. And you can infinitely expand these depending on how complex your product or service is, but you have to break it down and even give it a numerical value. We would call this TTV, or time to value. And this is your bigger bubble that encompasses all of this, which is going to be typically the average time that the person can see results. It's really important that you put a timer on that, because not only does it seem more achievable, but it seems like they have a window of opportunity to get that. So if your process takes 30 days, it's already more valuable, because I know I have a criteria in my mind as to what that looks like. If you notice, this applies to both products and services. If I want to get to the transformation on the other end, that could be a long, lengthy process spanning months, sometimes even years, or it might be as little as just 7 days. And products exemplify this even more so, where you go to Amazon, for instance, and they have all of these different questions on there. How long will it take to ship to me? What is the return policy like? When it actually gets to me, what does that thing look like arriving at my door? And every single component, you can break it down to as small as possible, because not only does, like I said, that it seems like you're going to get the desired result, but it also makes you more of an expert in that particular field. So with a product, definitely start to think about some of the simple things. Shipping times. How long does it take to actually set up? If I have to assemble this thing, if I have to put pieces together, how long is that process going to take? The second step, and you actually want to outline what that's going to look like. Have you noticed, for instance, when you go to IKEA and you want to go buy that coffee table, the first thing you're going to do is explore the store, get that journey, and then you're going to take it home. And the second step is usually breaking out that instruction manual, following all the assembly instructions, and then you finally get the desk you're looking for at the other end. Same thing with services. If I go to your clinic, if I go to your weight loss, if I go to your computer repair, if I go to your technology service, whatever you're offering, then the first step is buying from you. It's partnering with you. It's working with your service. And the second step is usually where the meat starts to live. That's going to be all the things that I need to do, or all the things that you need to do to get me to the other end. And then finally, that third step is going to be what outcome I'm looking for. So start to break down your process from start to finish. So to recap, when it comes to the first thing that you're going to pepper into your sales methodology, which is the breakdown, here is the 3 tweaks that you can look for to get you started. Number 1, focus on the average experience. Now, there's going to be outliers to the program. There's going to be outliers to the people who buy your stuff, but ultimately start to break down what the average customer or client or lead goes through from the very beginning of working with you all the way till the very end. Put a time on it. Again, how long am I in this? Am I in this for a week? Am I in it for a day? Am I in this for 30 days, 30 years? I need to have a firm, or at least somewhat general understanding of how long I'm expected to be within this ecosystem that you're providing me. And not only that, but this is really important, because once you actually do this with a service, it focuses and it narrows down what that looks like, and it forces you to really hone in on the optimization of it. The closer and the faster you can get them to those results, the better your service becomes. If I could flip a switch today and instantly get 6-pack abs, everybody would flip that switch, everybody would buy it, but more than likely, it's just too much uncertainty working with your service. And this also goes for products, because at the end of the day, if I buy your plant and it shows up and I want to grow a vegetable garden, the value is only there once I'm able to harvest those vegetables. So understand and break down what it's going to look like when I drop the seed in, when I water it, when I plant it and fertilize it, to ultimately getting to where I want to be. Because the likelihood that your product instantly gives them value once it lands straight into their hands is often not the case. You have to go beyond that. They're going to get new problems once they have the thing. So the last thing you're going to want to focus on is to understand the pain and put that into there as well. Because you want to turn pain into a process, and you want to turn objections into outcomes. What does this mean? Well, once you understand a lot of your customer demographic or who you're trying to sell to's pain, you can pepper those in and address them preemptively. If your process solves those, the objections, which is going to be not only how long does it take, but do I need to sacrifice this? Do I need to change my eating habits? Do I need to get a new thing? Do I need to get accessories for it to work? Does it take batteries? All of those questions can be peppered into your breakdown as well. That way it looks like you have encountered this before, that you're ready to proactively take on those issues that your customer or client has. So to recap, first step, partnering with you, working with you, buying from you, whatever version of that looks like. First step should be getting started with you. So once you understand that, they need to understand a little bit more about what that onboarding process is like. If it's a product, tell me how long it's going to take to get to me, what I might need to do once it actually shows up, all of these things. What payment methods do you accept? If it's a service, it might be as simple as saying, click this button to sign up for my online app. If it is something that is a little more one-on-one, or involves a human, or involves somebody actually directing somebody, then bare minimum working with you is where we begin, and we just need to understand what going beyond that process looks like, which comes to step 2. Talk about the hurdles, the outcome, the issues. How are you solving these problems in a very succinct way? Each one of these should be around a paragraph in length, ideally, but tell me and address upfront how you're going to proactively handle the issues that I have. And then 3, I want to get to the outcome. I want to get to the other side. I'm here where I'm sad, and I want to be over here where I am living that dream life. And that is what the last step needs to emphasize. We're going to get you to here. You're going to lose that weight. You're going to get more leads. You're going to be a better business. You're going to be faster. You're going to be stronger after going through this journey. So once you have all that down, make sure to focus on the average customer experience. Don't overpromise and then underdeliver. You want to do the opposite. You want to underpromise and overdeliver. So if it takes a little bit of time, if you're leaving in a little bit of leeway for them to, the package gets lost, or maybe they stray from the path, they get sick, leave a little bit of extra time in there. The time involved should be emphasized as well. Give it a number: 30 days, 30 months, 30 years. What does that look like? Pain, turn that into the process, and objections, turn that into outcomes. So start to preemptively understand what it is your customer or client will object to and put that straight into your process so that you can succinctly address it before they have to ask. Once they ask, then it becomes a doubt. Then they say, well, does it cover this? Does it cover that? But if you preemptively handle it, then they look at it and go, perfect, you have experience with this. The second thing that you can add into your sales process is what's called a value stack. And this allows you to take everything that you're likely already doing behind the scenes and pushing it out into the open. Because the customer or client that you work with just sees this thing that you're selling, which is the reward that they want or the dream. If I buy your product or if I buy your service, at the other end of me getting that into my hands, if it's a product, or going through this journey, if it's a service, I will get something. I'll get some sort of outcome. But what they don't know is all the stuff that you put into this, like your research and development, your marketing, your little extras, the things you do behind the scenes, all of those likely go into this thing right here, but you're hiding it. And that is a big problem because you need to break down the core components of what working with you looks like, or buying from you, what that actually means. So let's say that you have a product here. I'll give you 2 examples. Or you have a service. And think of all of the things that you do behind the scenes when you were building that product, or all the things that you do behind the scenes when you were crafting your service that made it slightly better. Maybe it's something that you picked up along the education that you were taking, or maybe it's a technique you have, or a material that makes you unique. And let's say you wanted to sell a pair of pants, or let's say you wanted to sell weight loss. And at the end of the day, when I buy from you, and I go to the gym, or I buy your pair of pants, I only understand that, okay, let's say that both of these are in the same bubble. I'm trying to do fitness, so I want to buy a new pair of workout pants, and I also want to buy this workout routine. I just want to lose the weight, and I want to not be stressed when I'm working out. But I don't know what is involved in this product here because I'm not an apparel designer, and I don't know what that looks like from your service. So start to not only break that down and list those out for every single sale, but attach a number to them. So for instance, we go down this little checkbox list of all the things that make you unique. Then all you need to do is to pepper those in so that they feel like they're getting a better deal. So that might include a nutrition guide on what food to eat. That might include a gear list. That might include accountability texts. That might include a Facebook group. That might include some sort of bring a friend program. And that might include, with the pants, special materials. That might include certain pockets. It might include, it might include something to hold my iPhone or my smartphone when I'm using it to actually have it so it's not flopping around, which is a huge concern when you're running. It might include something like zippers so that I don't have to worry about my stuff flying out when I'm jogging around. But break each one of these down. Tell me everything and then start to attach a monetary value to each thing. So if we have A, B, C, so let's assume that the materials typically are $100. Pockets, 200, smartphone, and this is just an example, zippers could be another 100. Food, if I gave you a nutritional guide, if you went to somebody else, that would normally be another $100. Gear would probably be another 50. Accountability text, that's a lot of labor. Let's say 200. A Facebook group, well, you're going to join other people, bring a friend. Well, you're actually saving a little bit of money by even doing that. So that would be 1,000. And then at the very end, you can present your real price for whatever this program is, so that when they look at this value stack and say, man, look at all the things I get inside of this, that's fantastic. I'm getting such a great deal. And I would even encourage you to go find a real life example of this. One of the most prominent ones is app companies do this. If you go to somewhere and you can find a subscription, they will typically have 3 plans laid out where you can see all the different things that they have. Normally they don't attach a monetary value to it, but it's the same principle. You're getting this feature, this thing, this service, this technique, this whatever, and you're getting all of that for just $59 a month. So that you look at that app and you say, absolutely, I'll drop my credit card on that and I'm going to subscribe to that thing forever because what a fantastic deal. You're probably not doing that right now, especially if you're selling something that's strictly a job title or it's something that they don't understand. If it's a program that doesn't make sense to them, you have to break down each one of the ingredients. By the way, if you are still stuck trying to grow your business or apply these principles to what you're selling, or you just don't even know what steps to first take, I understand and I get it. It's frustrating. I've been there, but I'm here to help. All you have to do is click the link below and you can claim your free phone call where I will walk you through one-on-one a personal roadmap tailored to your specific business and the outcome that you're looking for so that you can start to grow, set it up for sustainable growth, and also start earning more so you can live that dream life. So go ahead and click the link in the description or the pinned comment below and you can get started with your free one-on-one phone call today. The third thing that you can do to instantly enhance one of your sales is to prove it. And not only that, but anchor it to somebody else's outcome. And by that, I mean, if you're trying to sell something and you have a pretty firm understanding that this person is going to get the same result, all you have to do is find another person who you've made that result for and migrate their story into the new customer or client. So by that, I mean, the old lead suddenly becomes the new spokesperson for this. And you can either do this from the brand. Basically, you tell them, hey, we went through this journey with somebody else. This person bought this product just like you. They bought our service, and this is what they got. Then all of a sudden, they see this as more relatable, more particular to them, even though the steps that might go through their mind, even the sacrifices that they're experiencing, the things that they're thinking about of how it's not going to work for them or how it may work for them, it's so much more achievable when they've seen somebody else do it. Or you can even go a step further and get them to prove it for you. Get a video testimonial or get a review, screenshot those reviews from Yelp, from Google, from Bing, from your website, or even get that video testimonial. Like I said, get them on camera saying, hey, I was stuck with this problem and I went through this journey with you and I loved the outcome. I loved X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Now, really important when it comes to video testimonials is you want to make it simple. Give them some sort of cloud folder they can drop it into or upload it from their phone, or give them a script bare minimum. But if you're going to get video testimonials, it's imperative that you just make it something where they don't have to take hours out of their day thinking about what to say, where to upload it, how to stand in front of the camera. Make it so easy that they would have to do it. So proving it can basically be brought down into 3 things: an outcome, So something that you are broadcasting based on the experience that somebody else had. Hey, somebody else bought our product or service and they got this outcome. This is what their experience was like. You make it more relatable, you make it more digestible. Get them to say it. So get another one of your customers or clients to leave a review on Google, on your website, on Yelp, on Bing, whatever flavor it is. Screenshot that, put it on your website, use it in your marketing materials, or ultimately you can do what I would consider a hybrid of both. So them generally relies on you trying to hopefully get that desired testimonial out from them, but hybrid is something where you can kind of set them up for that question. So let's say, for example, they bought your product or service, and then you are able to not only do one of those outcomes, but you can narrow down specifically what that question looks like. So you could even give them 3 of the top questions to succinctly address that. This is something that a lot of big organizations do, where instead of finding somebody on the street and saying, you know, what do you think of my product? What do you think of my service? And they might ramble on for hours. They might go off on a tangent. They might say that some of the things just they didn't like about them. You can ask them exactly what they were looking for, who and why it applied to them. So find somebody, God damn it. So a hybrid approach allows you to get many of these at once, because really it typically relies on a few couple sentences from just somebody who's bought your stuff. So go ahead and succinctly address a few questions out there that you can, maybe just 1, potentially even 3 or 5 that you can send out there to all of these people who have already bought your stuff, the crowd of people out there, and ask them, hey, what did you get out of working with us? And can you tell us a little bit about that experience? When it comes to the hybrid approach, you just want to focus on a select few key questions. Ideally just 1 or 3, and talk about the outcome they got. That way you can get a bunch of these en masse, and then you can demonstrate to a lot of different people that you were able to create a lot of different outcomes. But definitely prove it. If they're walking through this experience and they're saying, I don't know, it's too expensive, is it the right fit, will this work for me? The best thing you can do is to literally just hold it up to them and say, hey, I did this thing, and this is what happened when I did this thing. That is exactly the best kind of proof. There's actually a stat on this. 80% of the best performing ads on Facebook are literally just proof of doing the thing. If you feel like your marketing is even hurting, you can take those case studies, those testimonials, those outcomes, those little BDQs, and just pepper them into your marketing as well to get even better results. So to recap, social proof, or proving it, or showing testimonials, showing real world outcomes of buying something from you, is a fantastic way to reduce the risk of working with you and increase them to likely buy your product or service. But you ultimately are probably not demonstrating them. They should be on your website, they should be on your marketing materials, they should be in your sales pitch, they should ideally be in everything if you have good reviews, good testimonials, good outcomes. And if you aren't gathering those, if you aren't actively asking for those, then make sure you are, and make it easy to do so. The 4th thing that you're going to want to incorporate into your sales process is branding and your value statement, because these are really important. Brand it, value it. Because at the end of the day, when you sell your thing, when I come to you and I buy your product or service and I look at it, ultimately, if you're trying to pitch it as a job title or something that is a collection of services, then likewise, I will compare it to those other services. I will compare it to those other competitors who theoretically offer the same thing. And then not only that, I do not understand ultimately what that means, because you're probably going to be selling this huge bubble of years that you've worked for to get to this point where you're selling your thing, but I don't understand the journey you've been through. And that is likely the scenario that you have been in at this time. All the things, the mistakes, the values, the wisdom that you've learned over the years are going to be incorporated into this. So when you brand it, name it something compelling. There is a reason that big companies do not name things similarly. If I go to the phone store and I look between an Apple phone and a Samsung phone, They both make phone calls. They both send text messages. They both do video calls. They both have great displays, great cameras. But at the end of the day, when they name it, it seems unique to them. That is the reason that people will spend $1,500 on an iPhone, because it has FaceTime, because it has iMessage, because it has iCloud, because it has Apple Care. But then when they flip the script and they look at something else comparatively, then it becomes unique in their eyes. So name it something that is outcome focused. So include your target in that name, who it's for, a little bit about the outcome that they're going to get, the time, and the service. So for instance, if I was selling something to realtors, I would probably create the Realtor Market Mastery Blueprint, Transform Your Lead Generation in 30 Days, which includes the target, realtors. It includes the outcome. They're going to master their market. It includes better lead gen, which is a service, and it includes the time, 30 days. So ultimately, start to name your thing so it sounds more compelling. And then not only that, value it, which is an easy way to succinctly give an elevator pitch or wrap up what you're doing in a much more proactive way so that people can understand what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. They don't really care about the job title. They don't really care about what qualifications you have within your industry that only matter to other people in the industry. They don't care what tools you use. They only care what they're going to get out of giving you money, giving you their time. So to wrap this one up, all you have to say is we help target, so whoever you want to work with, get outcome using process. If you're able to boil down what your thing does in just this one sentence, you're ahead of 90% of people, and then start to name that. We help realtors increase their lead generation by changing how they do their customer outreach. And then, if they're more interested, tell me more. Interesting, tell me more. Well, it's actually the Real Estate Market Mastery Blueprint. It's a 30-day program that completely transforms how they acquire cold traffic and convert those into leads who want to buy and sell homes. It takes about 30 days, all these things, blah, 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 break it down. Then all of a sudden, this is different than me going, okay, I'm going to go buy a lead list on Fiverr. I'm going to run some pay-per-click ads on Meta. I'm going to do some marketing. I'm going to set you up with a web page. We're going to do this sales call. We're going to do, see how less compelling that is? See how that does not get the people going? This is the reason that people don't say, oh, buy my workout program. We're going to do crunches and abs and burpees, and we're going to eat great. We're going to eat vegetables. We're going to do all this stuff. And they say, oh, no, buy the keto plan or buy high-intensity strength training, buy a Bowflex. Oh, you want to get on the carnivore diet. All of those wrap people up into that bubble, and they help to understand what it is they're getting out of it, because it makes them seem more individualistic. It makes them seem unique. So to recap, name your stuff. Don't be afraid to name it, and give it a really catchy name that sums it up, and work on your value statement. If you can't tell me what you do in just those 15 seconds, then people won't understand even after you've done an hour-long Zoom call. The fifth and final thing that you can do, and this one is dead simple, but so many people miss the mark on this, is just give options. This is something that is very easy to fix, because at the end of the day, people will have different workflows. They have different things that they value. They have different ways to pay for something, to work with it. I go to the store and I tap my watch and it instantly pays, whereas the next person in line only wants to use cash. And then I go home and maybe I watch something on streaming on Netflix, and then the guy who just passed me by in the grocery store buys 5 Blu-ray discs. It's the exact same outcome, whether or not we are transacting, whether or not we're still getting that value, whether or not we are still going through that journey. At the end of the day, we're still looking for something on the other side. So, meeting you, go ahead and find 3 ways to simplify that. Instead of a contact us form, which, let's face it, nobody wants to do that, maybe you could incorporate online booking. And you could do this in many different ways. You could do a phone call, for that online booking. You could do just a complete sale. Give me your credit card, you'll get on board, you'll sign up for the thing. You could do Zoom, and somebody's going to want some variation of that. It is free, and it does not hurt you to change how working with you is. So start to think about all the ways that you can change meeting. Start to think of all the ways you could change buying, and think of all the different ways that you could deliver on that. Because it's really important. If you nail these ones, then people won't have excuses to not want to buy your thing. I can't tell you how many times I go to a website and I see a form that says, oh, contact us for more info. It says contact, and it usually has a bunch of different fields all peppered throughout, and there's a button right here. How many people do you think navigated to your website, saw that form and said, I don't want to fill in all this information. I don't know why I'm giving you this information. I don't know how long it's going to take for you to get back to me. This is a problem. How many people do you think went to your website, looked at that contact form, said, this is going to take too much time. I don't know why I'm giving you this info. What am I going to get in return? How long is it going to take for you to get back to me? And then they just left. So start to think about ways you could either make that a buy button, a book button, or a phone button, an email, anything. Meetings can be simplified if you just make it simple to work with you. And then not only that, incorporate the lessons that you learned from the first one with the breakdown, and take your breakdown and apply that exactly to any sort of booking platform. You know what? As soon as you hit that book button to buy my service, or that buy button, here's what's going to happen next. We're going to ship out the product. It's going to take about a day for processing. It's usually going to take about 2 days to ship out to you. If you're not completely satisfied with it, return it to us in 30 days. No questions asked. You just pay for postage. You see how there were no questions in that? Same thing with the service. Well, if you book a discovery call with us today, here's what's going to happen. First, we're going to learn more about you, what it is that your goals are, how much weight you want to lose, what that might look like in terms of your nutritional plan, and then we're going to craft a carefully curated version of your workout success program. So break down all of those in your meetings, and then give as many options as possible. Options do not hurt. Same thing with payment. I do not want to have to struggle to give you money. This is one of the easiest hurdles to come and fix within your business, but so many people do it. This is one of the easiest things to fix within your business because all the payment processors are free. Sure, they're going to charge you a percentage, but you have factored that into your margins, hopefully. But think of all the different ways. If you have Apple Pay, if you have ACH bank transfer, if that ACH transfer requires me to log into my bank and then to give you an account and routing number and then to send it off and then wait 5 days, or if I can just log into a portal and then it does all the work for me. Credit, debit, cash, card, everything should be on the table. Buy now, pay later. If, for instance, you're selling a high-ticket item and people might not be able to afford your $500 product, whatever, then maybe you can partner with a firm, with Klarna, with Afterpay to fit that into 4 easy interest-free payments. Suddenly your conversion rates go up, more people buy your stuff. But you have to understand what options they're looking for. And once you figured out the breakdown, you've made it easy to meet with you, and your payment, then ultimately the last question is to simply understand what their objections are. And this is a good way to proactively handle this. What is holding them back? Why don't they think it'll work for them? And where do they want to be? And how do they want to get there? If you can answer all of these in your sales from the beginning, then you are instantly ahead of 90% of the competition, because you can't wait for them to ask you those objections, like I said before. So you want to give them all these different options in that outlet. One thing you might even be able to do is to give them a very expensive thing that is slightly different than the one just below it and present them with those three options. The really expensive one, the super cheap one that's maybe the self-guided, do-it-yourself, assemble it, you follow the steps option, the really expensive money is no object, and the one that you really want them to buy. Present them with each one of them, and you'll likely see that once they have that objection of it takes too much time, it's too expensive, and then all of a sudden you present them with something that is a little less expensive, or even something that gives them back more of their time, they might want to go up the notch and buy the more expensive thing, or they might even want to go down, figure out that they can't do it themselves, and then that's when you swoop in and you sell them their core offer. You know what? I understand you weren't able to do our self-guided workout program, but you can go ahead and jump into the main one where we do it together as a group with the accountability. Oh, I know you weren't able to get to the point where you could afford the full lead gen program, but here is a free guide, or here is a guide, or here's a book that's $59. If you follow this process yourself and implement it, you'll be able to get the same result. And they will thank you for giving that information. They will look forward to trying to do it themselves, and 9 times out of 10, they won't be able to do it themselves. But you will have been the person who they come to next and say, hey, I would like to take the next steps up and go farther in this program. It is the same reason that you end up spending tens of thousands of dollars with a business without realizing it, because you typically start from the small one where they have the objections to getting the big thing, and then they start to work their way up. You go to the AirPods, to the iPhone, to the case, to the iPad, to the MacBook, to the iCloud, to the Apple Care, and then all of a sudden you've spent $50,000 with Apple over the period of 10 years. So to recap, make meeting with you, make finding your thing, make interacting with it easy. Give them multiple options. Some people want to call, some people want to email, some people want to book a time, some people want to fill out a form. It costs you nothing to add as many of those as possible. Payment, make it easy, simple, fast to pay from you. Right after they sign that proposal, they should immediately get a payment link. Right after they sign up for your program, they should be able to quickly enter their button or something like Apple Care, Google Pay, Apple Pay, to click on it and instantly pay for it without having to pull out their wallet, type in their credit card, put in their zip, put in their billing address. Make it easy to buy from you. Lastly, if they object, then all you need to do is to give them options that go up or down. They might want to get the cheaper option, they might want to get the more expensive option, but present it in a way where they can't say no based on those objections. And I don't mean just try and strong arm them into something they don't want, but give them the option. If you're trying to sell, and this is very important if you're trying to sell high ticket things, if the high ticket thing is their only option on the ladder of working with you, then that is a huge problem, because it is an all or nothing scenario. But if you can be the type of person who offers something slightly cheaper, or even dramatically cheaper, or even better yet, free, to get them to trust you, then you have a fantastic entry point to upsell them later down the line on your big ticket thing. And this is applicable for anything. This is how businesses go from people who just buy their first item to getting fans for life. You start with researching something, you start to look at it, you get the financing options, what colors does it come in, oh, what's delivery window like, now it's at my house, now I'm buying t-shirts with that company's logo on it, now I'm buying accessories that work better with my product, now I'm vouching for it left and right because I am a fan for life. Every major company, every billion-dollar business has some form of this sales methodology, and it works every time. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything that really you just want to know about that you're struggling with your business, with your freelance, escaping your 9 to 5, what have you, just comment below. I'll make a video on it because I want to make things that are valuable to you, that help you, that navigate you through this journey of success. Until then, though, I also make videos like these on a weekly basis, so make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of all future ones, and I'll see you guys next time.